Swadee Krap. Good day, everyone. Today is Monday, the 14th of October, 2019. I am Kasit Piromya here again with you. Today I will touch a bit on the constitutional change because there has been quite a commotion the past few days as a result of a speech being given by the Army Chief General Apilak Khong Sompong about the state ideology of nation, religion, and the monarchy. It has created quite a consternation whether a career soldier, a bureaucrat, should anyhow or anyway say anything about the political life of Thailand. But throughout the modern history of Thailand, the military or the armed forces and the bureaucrats have more or less been very much involved on the political life and affairs of the country. And most of all, the present constitution of the year 2017 has allowed the involvement of the armed forces on the political affairs of the country. And some of the generals in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and even in the police department do have seats, respective seats in the upper house in the Senate. So in that sense, Thailand is in a state of quasi-democracy, half elected, half nominated in the parliament. With that background, there has been still the demand for constitutional change to reform the political setup of the country to recourse Thailand towards a more liberal, democratic polity. So lately there has been so much of the public discussions, talk shows on television, series of seminars organized by some political parties, but most of them were being organized by the civil society organizations. So at this point in time, there have been a lot of demands and call for constitutional change, which is more or less the same as the change in the political setup of Thailand, or there is a need to do a political restructuring reform through the constitutional change. So from my point of view, discussion about constitutional change and discussion about political reform of Thailand are more or less the same thing, or the two sides of the same coin, in the sense that we have to move forward in our democratization process and not to be bogged down with this quasi-democracy or quasi-authoritarian type of regime. So then what is the point that I would like to convey today? I think for the issue of constitutional change, from my own point of view, there are 3 points of views in the Thai society, or 3 schools of thoughts. Let me emphasize 3 schools of thoughts on the constitutional reform, the constitutional change, and so on. The first school of thoughts are the people that are conservative in their thinking, believing that Thailand should allow the involvement of the armed forces in the political life. So they are quite happy with the fact that the upper house, the Senate, all the members, 250 of them, are nominated and not elected. And that allows bureaucrats, especially the armed forces, generals, and so on, to have political seats and have political role in the parliament and in the running of the affairs of the country. The second school of thoughts are the progressive forces. These are the ones who would like to see Thailand move forward under a liberal and democratic regime, not only of representative democracy, but more consultative, more joint deliberation, more participation by the citizens at large, coupled with the decentralization and devolution of powers from the center to the peripheries, to the localities, and so on, and to allow the private sector, the interest groups, the professional associations to be more self-governing. As to the third school of thought, which are some of them are remnants of the members of the Communist Party of Thailand. They are mostly the left-leaning intellectuals, politicians, media people, and so on, who would like to see more transformation of the Thai political structure. For example, more autonomy for some of the regions, especially down south, where the majority of the citizens are Muslims. And there has been, in the past few years, call for more regional autonomy and so on in the various parts of the country. So in that sense, it's somewhat is in contradiction to the principle of Thailand, the Kingdom of Thailand as a unitary state, indivisible and so on. At the same time, there have been, calls for the non-involvement of the armed forces or the bureaucrats in the affairs of the state or in politics in general. So at this point in time, so there are three schools of thoughts. In short, the conservative, the progressive, and the transformative. What would be the outcome at this point in time? I do not know, but what is being worrying for me is that instead of the three parties or the three school of thoughts sit down together and have a dialogue, have a civilized, peaceful consultation in order to come out with a set of principles that could be incorporated into the new constitution or into the drastic amendment of the present constitution of the year 2017, which has been deemed to be quasi-democratic and quite centralized. The administrative structure of Thailand is quite centralized. There is a need for more decentralization and so on. So then how could this dialogue could have come about? I think it depends very much on the very personality of the Prime Minister, General Prayut Chan-o-cha, and his army supporters, armed forces and supporters and so on. They must have the generosity of the hearts and the mind to open the room for the other parties with a different point of views about the political setup and structure of Thailand to come and add their voice, exchanges, viewpoints and so on, so that the three schools of thoughts will be able to come to a consensus and to, work together for the good of the nation and move country forward in a much more democratic setting. So this is what is happening in Thailand at the moment. Hopefully that different point of view will not lead to further confrontation and to street politics and upheavals and so on. Thailand, the Thai society can avoid this type of occurrence if the present political leaders in the political field and in the armed forces and so on were to be more moderate and more open-hearted in their view and allow different forces to come together and have a discussion. I do believe that the Thai people in general have the tendency to talk to one another, and we are not extreme people. We are not confrontational. Of course, there will be certain elements of extremes and radical thinking and so on. But I think the majority of the Thai people are quite tolerant, peace-loving, and rational. So hopefully that we could get out of this predicament and move Thailand forward by changing the negative side of the constitution that do not allow Thailand to become a more liberal and democratic country. So a food for thought for all of you today. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดีครับ